So, Steve, how do you respond to those who say or believe that international missions, is obsolete or harmful? What is your response to that?
Well, it depends on if they're believers or
Sure,
not,
sure.
I would say, but and it'd be slightly different on those 2 points. But in terms of harmful, my experience has been the only people from whom I've heard that charge is outsiders, Westerners,
Mm.
basically. I have personally never heard someone from a culture that has received missionaries in the last 5 or 6 decades ever complain that the missionaries came.
Hmm.
And I've participated in quite a few of these 50-year anniversary celebrations or other celebrations where literally thousands of people will gather in a jungle amphitheater. And they'll tell the stories of how they used to live. And this goes on for a couple of days. And then they reenact how the first missionaries came and brought all their baggage and all the funny experiences and all their linguistic faux pas and foibles. And then they'll start talking about the impact that the gospel made. And then they'll start dancing and just incredible rejoicing. And that is not the reaction of an exploited people.
Hmm.
That is not the reaction of people who are resentful, that the missionaries came. So anyway, but as far as Westerners going, first of all, I think the Bible is clear. As believers, it's not optional to have flesh and blood
Hmm.
investment and obedience in the Great Commission.
Mm.
I suspect others may disagree that if we stop sending our own flesh and blood altogether, it'll only be a generation at the most two before we stop sending money as well.
Hmm.
And a final thought among many is that I believe mission engagement, strategic mission engagement, which normally will involve some aspect of sending, is really healthy for the sending church. And it's not a win-lose proposition. It's a win-win proposition. And some of the healthiest churches that I've seen across the US and North America are churches that have a vibrant missions. It's integrated into their ministry and their culture. It's not just a tag on. And, churches, I've seen them kind of go through a life cycle. And the golden age for many churches, both locally and globally, is when the Great Commission is a central part of who they are as a congregation.
Well, and I think that's one of the points that make them and everything is missions. When you focus on the ends of the earth, you get everything in between,
Yes,
and
I
not
love
this
it.
either or concept. It's not Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria, or it's and all across. And John Piper makes a comment about this idea of people wanting, oh, we're just going to send our money, and he talks about we can't say we're going to let somebody else send their sons and daughters into harm's way, and we're not going to, and he talks about the danger of that, of what you said. I haven't thought about what you just said. If we stop sending our people, then eventually we'll stop sending our money as well. So,
Yeah, I think it's a matter of time. And frankly, in the New Testament church and the early few centuries, it started with such outward passion,
hmm.
um, and moving through the Roman Empire. But there came a point where churches became inwardly focused, and eventually those regions surrounding the Mediterranean actually got run over, you could say, by unevangelized peoples to whom the
Hmm.
gospel had not come because the mission vision had been lost.
Hmm.
And historically, that has happened, fairly frequently.